There are a lot of articles about how COVID affected women in the workplace.
Maybe was the whole point of the Washington Post article, is not necessarily to highlight the reality, but like the fact that it could get a hell of a lot worse.
Yeah.
Because if we shed people more than we bring in, which
Right.
I think is a possibility, the problems don't solve themselves with less people.
Right.
I mean, I'm not necessarily going to say that they solve themselves with more people either. I really don't like that as a go-to solution, but sometimes
But you have to have enough people.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the reality of it is more and more of the profession is female as well. So I would be interested to see in those graphs of those older veterinarians that are, leaving the profession, a majority of them are probably male, because I forget what year it finally was where the classes themselves finally flipped. From, 80-20 male-female to now 80-20 female-male.
Right.
And I mean, that I haven't seen any articles specific to veterinary medicine, but there are a lot of articles about how COVID affected women in the workplace.
I suppose.
Yeah, I guess.
As doing more of the emotional work at home
and I'm a good example. I took on, and it's not that I myself or Carlo believe that it's the woman's job, but just I was better suited for it.
Yeah, the way that Carlo explained it to me was he was like, of the two of us, Katie is the better parent. He was like, if I was in charge, he's like, it would be like the Isle of the Lost Boys.
I think what he meant to say was when I was in charge, the few times I was allowed to be, it was like the Isle of Lost Boys. And what we learned in that short amount of time was that Katie really had to be the one to do this, because had we not, our kids would have been multiple years behind in their schooling.
Or just murdered each other.
So not that it has to be, but what is coming out of it is women did end up, bearing the brunt of, some of the additional child care work that happened because of that, and either had, trying to maintain a full-time position or had to go part-time, temporarily leave the workplace. So again, I think it's a problem that COVID helped to highlight, but women, right? Not that we have to have kids, but I had 3 of them.
Right.
Caroline, I know we've talked, having a family is part of your future plan.
Right.
And so you can't do what you did 9 months pregnant that you did not pregnant.
Right.
It been there 3 times. Not that you can't work.
Right. But you also never know. Because it affects everybody differently.
Correct.
We had one staff member here that I was like, gosh, I haven't seen her in forever. And it's some people have pregnancy complications and you literally can't be at work.
Right.
So, yeah. No, I didn't even think about that as a factor, but you're right. Because we actually had that with staff, with technicians at my last clinic too, that had to basically take a break from working to help raise their kids. That's a stupid statement. They had to spend more time at home because their kids were being homeschooled, and that obviously requires a lot more involvement as a parent than...
Well, and for support staff especially, I think that they do take on that role because it is their partner, husband, whatever, has the job that offers benefits.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Right? So their health insurance is dependent on the other parent working and maintaining their full-time job.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did say in here that the overwhelming majority of clinics are still 1 to 2 doctors, 2 to 4 technicians and like 3 to 4 uncertified or like clerical staff. So like a 10 person clinic with like probably 8 FTEs.
Right.
Like that's just not gonna have what you need in the way that our society is constructed from a benefits perspective to survive, especially if you are creating a family.
Right.
Shit's expensive.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which we're blessed to have that here, but it didn't start that way.
Yeah. No, that actually was a priority. I mean,
Was
we
it?
had to.
But pre-PAW it wasn't.
No, pre-PAW. I mean, it was whatever the other.
Right.
So
it's at the very least we can say that it is the exception, not the rule.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, and it's a constant battle. Like if you, I'm not in any of the practice owners like Facebook groups and stuff, but I've heard a lot of the back and forth with owning a practice is the cost of offering those benefits to staff as an employer is not insubstantial either. So there's a lot of back and forth as far as that goes.
Yep.
The one place that it always seems to come up especially is with maternity leave. And I know like people have argued like being pregnant is not a disability, but that's our profession's stopgap as far as like allowing a woman to actually take that time off is that it's treated as short-term disability.
But I mean that exists, right? I mean, short-term disability for pregnancy is not unique to veterinary medicine.
No,
I
I know, but
supplemental insurance exists because it's a problem.
See,
more than just
Right.
No, I know. I had never thought of it as like the one person who kept saying like pregnancy isn't actually disability. Like it's a normal thing that happens. It shouldn't qualify. Like I get why it does because the system is broken, but
See, my head just immediately went to just base income because like yes, benefits are a very real thing, but also if you're talking about the disparity on how the impact on women versus men is because generally speaking, at least as it currently exists, and I think we'll start to see the shift in a more substantial way probably in the next 10, 15 years, but generally speaking, men that work in the veterinary profession are doctors. You don't see much in the way of support staff in men. Like we have myself, and we have Grant, and we have Trevor and Jur, and I think that's it. In
which
terms
is
of men.
probably more than a lot of practices.
Right. I mean, but it's still like 10%.
Right.
Just call, whatever. Let's just use bad math and call it 10%.
None of the other practices I worked at prior to here had any male non-veterinarians.
Right.
Same.
Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. If you want to watch this full podcast, go ahead and click up here. If you want to watch our newest podcast, go ahead and click down here. And if you want to subscribe to see everything else that we do, go ahead and click right here. Thanks.